90s nostalgia is everywhere these days, and that's pretty cool. But y'all, I lived it. I still have my favorite pair of Abercrombie and Fitch jeans and my favorite Birkenstocks and Doc Martens that I bought in 1995. The 90s were a special time. Since I was born in 1977, I'm a late stage Gen Xer, also known as an Xennial or Xenial or however you want to say it, which means I was a teenager and young adult in the 90s, the decade where I was immersed in pop culture, the music, movies, TV shows. I know them all because I watched and listened to it all. It was a glorious time to be alive. I believe Gen Xers have a responsibility to share with the young folk the amazing culture we experienced, including all of the fantastic movies that weren't winning Oscars or topping the box office. I'm talking the really good mid and low budget movies that we were renting at Blockbuster every weekend or buying for our VHS collections that started turning into DVD collections in about 98 or 99. So, my mission of spreading Gen X pop culture to the masses has led me to this new series titled 101 Neglected 90s Movies That You Should Watch At Least Once. And this is episode 1, where we get the first 11 movies on the list. So let's get started. So I'm going to start off this list with a movie that I quote regularly. Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. This is a comedy from 1991 that revolves around 17-year-old Sue Ellen Crandall, played by the incredible Christina Applegate, and her 4 younger siblings. When their mother leaves for a summer vacation in Australia, she leaves them under the care of an elderly babysitter, which is really weird, but things get even weirder when the babysitter suddenly dies and they lose the money that their mom left them for the summer. Sue Ellen decides to conceal the babysitter's death to avoid trouble. So to make ends meet and to provide for her siblings, Sue Ellen lies her way into landing a job at a trendy fashion company. The movie follows her misadventures as she navigates the challenges of adulthood, work, and family responsibilities. Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead is a lighthearted and humorous coming-of-age comedy. Christina Applegate delivers a charismatic and entertaining performance as Sue Ellen, and the film captures the essence of the early 90s completely with its fashion, music, and pop culture references. Just remember, I'm right on top of that, Rose. PCU is a satirical comedy released in 1994 with a story set on the fictional college campus of Port Chester University. It stars Jeremy Piven, Chris Young, Jon Favreau, Megan Ward, and there's even an appearance by George Clinton in the Parliament Funkadelic. 30 years later, and this movie looks like a prophecy instead of a satire. PCU is a humorous and satirical take on the political correctness movement of the early 90s. The movie provides a comedic critique of extreme ideologies and the challenges of being on a college campus that is overly preoccupied with political correctness. It's like a woke origin story. The school is a politically correct environment filled with various subcultures and extreme ideologies. But there's a group of rebels known as the Pit who reject the prevailing political correctness on campus. They resist the conformist PC culture and challenge the various absurdities on campus. And the movie explores themes of course, political correctness, activism, and the clash between different subcultures within the college community. At the time, the characters and situations were exaggerated for comedic effect, but now it feels like thought-provoking commentary on current issues relevant to university life. Now, this is insane, but PCU is not available for streaming, and it's not available for sale unless you want to buy a DVD from eBay for like $50. I don't know why this is the case, but I actually have a copy, and this may lead to me starting a Locals or Patreon so we can have a weekly online slumber party together where we watch 80s and 90s movies. And the first movie we watch could be PCU. Let me know if that's something you would be interested in the comments below. Does a private Gen X subscription group seem like a good idea? There would be more than just movie viewings, but that's just one of the ideas I have. So let me know what you think in the comments. Speed is an action thriller from 1994 that stars Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock in their first on-screen appearance together. This is a fun, high-octane movie that doesn't waste a second, as the plot revolves around cop Jack Traven and a bus with a bomb on board. It will explode if the bus speed drops below 50 miles per hour, so it's Jack's responsibility to keep the passengers safe. As the bus speeds through the city, Jack and Annie, who's in the driver's seat, must confront numerous obstacles and challenges to prevent disaster. The suspense builds as they race against time, facing both the immediate threat of the bomb and the larger conspiracy behind it. Speed has intense and relentless action sequences, making it a classic in the action thriller genre. It is packed with adrenaline pumping moments, innovative stunts, and a well executed premise that keeps viewers on the edge of their seat. And of course, Reeves and Bullock are an absolute delight on screen. Honestly, Speed is a benchmark for action films in the 90s thanks to the gripping pace, memorable characters, and the chemistry between the lead actors. Oh, and did I mention this movie also stars Jeff Daniels and Dennis Hopper? Seriously, why isn't this movie talked about more often? Ooh, this next one is so good. Presumed Innocent is a gripping legal thriller that combines courtroom drama with a murder mystery. Released in 1990, it stars Harrison Ford as prosecutor Rusty Savage, who finds himself accused of murdering his colleague, who also happens to be his mistress. As Rusty becomes the prime suspect in the murder investigation, he hires defense attorney Sandy Stern, played by the amazing Raul Julia, to represent him in court. As the trial unfolds, secrets are revealed, and Rusty must navigate a web of deceit to prove his innocence. It is a well-crafted mystery with layers of intrigue, suspenseful courtroom scenes, and intricate plot twists, and it keeps viewers guessing about the true nature of the crime and the motives behind it until the very end. Presumed Innocent is one of Harrison Ford's best movies, so forget about the nonsense he did last summer in that horrible Indiana Jones movie, and check out Presumed Innocent. I love the Newsies movie, and I don't care who knows it. Not the Broadway play, the Disney movie. Newsies is a musical drama released in 1992, and it's based on the real-life newsboys strike of 1899 in New York City. It follows the story of a group of newsboys who go on strike against newspaper tycoons Joseph Pulitzer and William Randolph Hearst. The plot centers around Jack Kelly, played by a teenage Christian Bale in one of his earlier roles. He's a charismatic newsboy who becomes a leader in the strike. The newsboys, facing exploitation and unfair working conditions, unite to protest the increased prices they must pay for the newspapers they sell. The film explores themes of solidarity, social justice, and the power of collective action. Newsies is fantastic because of its catchy musical numbers, and it features songs composed by Alan Menken, and of course Bale shines as the lead protagonist, showing off his acting, singing, and dancing skills. The movie also stars Robert Duvall and Anne Margaret and Bill Paxton. Bill Pullman. Like I got that wrong. It's Bill Pullman. Good grief. Okay, Newsies is a musical treat that should not be neglected, especially if you love live action musicals like I do. Aw, Father of the Bride. It's a story that's been told on screen a few different times, but it's the 1991 version starring Steve Martin, Diane Keaton, and Martin Short that stands out above the rest. This movie is rarely mentioned when it comes to the careers of Martin and Short, and I think that's a shame because this is some of their best work. Only Murders in the Building has got nothing on this movie and its sequel, which we'll talk about in a minute. Father of the Bride tells the story of George Banks, played by Martin, and his daughter's upcoming wedding. The chaos and humor is everywhere as George deals with the wedding planning process, unexpected expenses, eccentric wedding planners, which includes Short as Frank Egelhofer, and the emotional roller coaster of letting go of his daughter Annie, who's played by Kimberly Williams. As the wedding day approaches, George experiences a range of emotions, from joy and excitement to anxiety and sentimentality. It's so rare to get a father-daughter movie like this, and Martin's portrayal of the overprotective dad adds such heart and humor to the movie, and it makes it so. Beyond the comedic elements, Father of the Bride explores the emotional journey of a father coming to terms with the transition of his daughter into married life. This movie has both humor and poignant moments with themes of love, family, and the bittersweet moments of life. Father of the Bride captures the essence of family dynamics and the challenges of change. It's a timeless classic that still resonates for its humor, relatability, and emotional depth. As a bonus to this list, I have to mention this movie's sequel, Father of the Bride Part 2. Rarely are sequels worth watching, but this one is definitely an exception. In fact, there's an argument to be made that the sequel is even better than the original. Part 2 follows the Banks family a couple of years after Annie's wedding when she is expecting her first baby. But shockingly, at the exact same time George is about to become a grandpa for the first time, he finds out he's going to be a daddy for the third time. This could have been such an absurd premise that it didn't work, but it absolutely does. And the ending to the sequel is just a delight. So if you take the time to watch Father of the Bride, make sure to have time for the sequel right after, because it's definitely worth a back-to-back watch. 2024 is the perfect year to revisit Election, a satirical black comedy released in 1999. It was directed by Alexander Payne, and it's based on the novel of the same name by Tom Perrotta. The film revolves around a high school election and uses that to explore the dark and comedic aspects of ambition, power, and the American electoral process. The plot centers on Tracy Flick, played by Reese Witherspoon, in one of her very best performances. She's a determined, ambitious high school student who's running for student body president. Tracy's teacher, Jim McAllister, is played by Matthew Broderick, and he becomes increasingly frustrated with her overachieving nature and decides to influence the election by encouraging another student, Paul Metzler, played by Chris Klein, to run against her. Election is known for its sharp and biting satire on politics, ambition, and the American high school experience. It offers a clever commentary on the nature of elections and the lengths people go to achieve success. The film combines dark humor with a witty and clever script and delves into moral ambiguity and the consequences of one's actions. The comedic elements arise from the characters' flaws, the absurdity of the high school election, and the unexpected twists in the plot. The themes of election remain relevant, offering insights into the competitive and sometimes ruthless nature of elections, and the film's observations on ambition, power dynamics, and morality just resonate beyond its high school setting. Empire Records. It's a cult classic from 1995, and I'm pretty sure it was played on a loop in my campus apartment at the University of Kansas for at least 2 years. The movie is set in a quirky independent record store called Empire Records and follows the group of store employees, which includes a very young Renee Zellweger and Liv Tyler, as well as its store's owner, as the store struggles financially. The plot unfolds over the course of a single day, exploring the lives and relationships of the eclectic group of characters. Each employee has their own unique personality and struggles, and the movie delves into themes of friendship, identity, and the challenges of growing up. From the memorable characters and witty dialogue to a soundtrack that captures the spirit of the mid-90s alternative music scene. I mean, it's got music from like Cranberries and Toad the Wet Sprocket. This film is a nostalgic trip for those who appreciate the era's music and culture. It's known among Gen Xers for its quirky charm, humor, and the relatable coming-of-age themes that resonate no matter which generation you're in. It may come across as dated to the younger crowd, but it's still a great movie with a mix of humor and drama, plus a soundtrack featuring iconic 90s music. But all I can think of when I see clips from this movie is, "Oh, Rexy, you're so sexy." A little inside joke with the Empire Records viewers, but if you know, you know. Swing Kids is a drama from 1993 that takes place in Nazi Germany during the 1930s. It follows a group of teenagers who are passionate about swing music and dance, and the plot unfolds against the backdrop of the rise of the Nazi regime and its impact on the youth culture. The movie explores themes of rebellion, friendship, and the clash between personal passions and political ideology. It stars a young Christian Bale and Robert Sean Leonard, who are part of the Swing Kids, a German subculture who defy the strict rules imposed by the Hitler Youth. The film provides a unique perspective on Nazi Germany, focusing on the experiences of the youth culture and rebellion, and explores how the love for swing music becomes a form of resistance against the oppressive regime. Swing Kids features energetic and entertaining swing music and dance sequences. The film captures the spirit of the swing era, showcasing the joy and freedom found in music and dance as a form of self-expression. This movie also helped spark a swing dance revival in the mid-90s. There was a period of about 18 months when you could go to dance clubs for the swing music and dancing, and it was so much fun. Swing Kids serves as a commentary on the power of music and dance in the face of oppression and explores how cultural expressions can become a form of resistance and a means to preserving individuality in challenging times. The themes of resistance, individuality, and the impact of authoritarian regimes remain relevant to this day, obviously, and Swing Kids will prompt viewers to reflect on the importance of standing up for your beliefs in the face of adversity. 1994's The Little Rascals is one of the best family comedy movies ever. Period. End of sentence. This lovable and mischievous group of kids, known as the He-Man Women Haters Club, is brought to life in this fantastic version, with Alfalfa leading the misadventures along with his friends Spanky, Stymie, and Buckwheat. Of course, it's based on the Hal Roach's classic Our Gang short film series from the 1920s and 30s, and the plot revolves around Alfalfa fighting for the affections of his crush Darla against a wealthy kid named Waldo. For those who grew up watching the original Our Gang series, this movie provides a nostalgic trip down memory lane as it captures the spirit of the classic shorts while updating the characters and setting it for a new audience. The film's comedy is driven by the innocent antics of the kids, their camaraderie, and the humorous situations they find themselves in. It has so many memorable quotes and iconic scenes. There's the song that Alfalfa sings to Darla, "You are so beautiful to me." And of course, the famous letter he writes her that starts with, "Dear Darla, I hate your stinking guts." Overall, The Little Rascals is a delightful and heartwarming family film that captures the essence of childhood friendships and adventures. If you have young kids and you haven't introduced them to The Little Rascals, then we need to have a conversation. This movie should not be neglected. Muriel's Wedding is an Australian comedy drama that was released in 1994, and it tells the story of Muriel Heslop, played by a young Toni Collette. She's a socially awkward and insecure young woman who dreams of escaping her mundane life and finding happiness through marriage. Muriel becomes obsessed with the idea of a perfect wedding, and the film explores themes of identity, acceptance, and the consequences of societal expectations. When Muriel befriends a more confident and rebellious woman named Rhonda, played by Rachel Griffiths, they embark on a journey of self-discovery, friendship, and the pursuit of personal happiness. Toni Collette delivers a standout performance as Muriel, capturing the character's vulnerability, humor, and growth. Muriel's Wedding explores themes of self-discovery and empowerment, and Muriel's journey involves breaking away from societal norms and finding her own path to happiness, challenging the expectations placed on women. The friendship between Muriel and Rhonda is a central and heartwarming aspect of the movie, and their camaraderie and support for each other adds depth to the narrative. Muriel's Wedding has a distinctive visual style with vibrant and colorful cinematography that contrasts with the darker themes explored in the story. But what I love the most is the use of ABBA's music throughout the entire film, which contributes to its unique atmosphere. If you enjoy films with a mix of humor, satire, and heartfelt storytelling, Muriel's Wedding is a definite recommended watch. It's a 90s movie that should not be forgotten. And that wraps up the first 11 titles on my list of 101 neglected 90s movies. Be sure to like and subscribe and turn on notifications for the next episode, where I'll list number 12 to 21. And be sure to let me know what you think of my list in the comments below. Okay, bye!